Hi, Tor. This is Jackie, the librarian here at Blue Mountain Community College. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Ethor. Let me know. um, I saw your question via Canvas about finding some research articles on gaming in the deaf community. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of our databases that I think will hopefully lead you to some articles on this topic. If not, just let me know and we can do a little bit more digging. It's a pretty kind of intense research topic, and this is kind of a short video, but we can go back and forth and see if we can find things. So really quickly, to get to the library homepage, if you haven't been here yet, you'll just start at the college homepage and click on library, and that will get you to the screen. If you haven't gotten one yet, you will need a library card number to access any of our resources off campus. To get a library card number, just to point out the FAFU services and support. If you're brand new, you'll just fill out our new patron registration form. If you have a library card, but maybe you haven't used it for a while, you might fill out a renew update your account. Or you might already have a library card and you're good to go. So going back to our library homepage, where I think we'll spend most of our time is in our library databases. We have our top library databases here. We do also have a great video collection and ebooks. I don't know if we'll need to go into Google Scholar, but for now, I think we'll just start with our top library databases. And if you don't find enough here, write back to me, let me know, and then we'll dive into some of those other resources. So I'm going to click here under top library databases, and we are going to spend most of our time in these two, Academic OneFile and Academic Search Complete. Those two, since your topic is kind of specific at this point, you're looking at a particular issue, the idea of gaming, and a particular population, the deaf community, that really is enough information that moves us beyond kind of a hot topic, which our more basic databases cover. If you were, say, looking at gaming and education, that's kind of a broad hot topic that might fall more into one of these databases, but we've gotten a little bit more specific with this question. So Academic OneFile, we'll start here. I think with this topic, and with many of your topics, one of the key things to think about is your keywords. The databases really can be helpful because they're more precise, but they also kind of demand of the researcher a little bit more precision in some regards. So we can certainly type in gaming and deaf, but we might want to have some other words in the back of our minds to try out as well. So instead of just gaming, depending on your issue, you might be interested in, say, game design, specifically game design in the deaf, or not only just deaf, but deaf and hard of hearing, that sort of thing. So, gaming, gamification, game design, you might want to think of all those different words, and then certainly the deaf or hard of hearing, or DHH, as sometimes that community is called. So all those different words, even though they kind of all mean the same thing, the precision of the databases gets you to more precise results, but you have to think about sometimes what you put in there. And sometimes you don't know until you actually do it. The database, kind of gives you some hints along the way saying, oh, well, did you mean this? Did you mean that? So we can start just to give you an example, and then, you can play with this and practice at home, and then, of course, get a hold of me. We can go ahead and try gaming and deaf. If one thing you might want to try is try typing in game design and deaf and see what the results might be, how different they are. But we'll go ahead and do gaming and deaf. And so one thing that you'll see right away is, so we have 153 results. The default in this database is to start with our academic journals. Academic journals are journals kind of published by and for researchers, scholars, people doing advanced work in this field. Once you start getting in your upper level writing classes and other classes, you're going to have instructors saying you need to use academic journals. You need to use peer-reviewed journals. That's what those are. Sometimes they're considered more credible because, again, to get published in these journals, you have to really show evidence that you've published credible work based on sound research, sound methodologies, compared to magazines, which are very useful, but magazines are, they're by reporters, they're by journalists, they're telling the story of something that's happened or sharing it. They're not responsible for really at that same level of creating the content, if that makes sense. You know, a reporter is just telling the story of, say, game design, gamification, and the deaf in this school. They're not the ones actually creating the program, they're not the ones doing all this stuff to make this work, but they're telling that story. So in that regard, magazines are very useful because they tell those stories, and they're very readable. So I'm not going to say one is good and one is bad, but they're different. So something to just something to know. And you can just toggle back and forth to see the difference. And it's really worth taking a look at. So one thing to do is just kind of browse through, see if anything looks good for you. If nothing is, you know, you might decide right away that you want to change your search. But, you know, actually this first one right here looks kind of cool. And like I mentioned earlier, they use both deaf and hard of hearing and DHH in this term. So this is something, oh, it's from Boise State University. That's kind of cool, kind of local. That's something for your own keywords you might want to think about later on. Like if you had typed in DHH and games, gamification, or gaming, you know, would that make a difference? So just to show you really quick, let's pretend you want this article. Let's take a look at this. So this is going to give us a full article here. You can also download the PDF if that's easier for you. You can certainly do that. And they have all the information for your citation right here. This is the title of the article. Here are the authors. It came from this journal, the International Journal of Mobile and Blended Learning. And it's from, you know, just this time, a little over a year ago. If you decided you want to use this, here's citation tools to help you out. So this is writing. So the default here for their sample is MLA. If you're in another class that uses APA, that's kind of handy. They have that as well. So, oops, MLA. Here you go. You can just grab that and put it in your paper. I will say, find out from your instructor. A lot of instructors don't want this URL, but it really varies from instructor to instructor, so just find out. But also here, I just want to point out, you can email this to yourself, you can download it to a flash drive, you can, of course, print. All these other cool features, highlight, save, download, you can do those, but you do have your login with Google first or Microsoft, so just keep that in mind. Let's go back really quick here. And again, same thing. This is academic journals, but you might also want to browse the magazines or the news articles. And again, if this isn't matching what you're interested in, you know, if we just did... So you don't really want to do games necessarily. You're probably looking at video gaming specifically or some sort of gaming. What if I do this? That works in our next database I'm going to show you. Oh yeah, that made a huge difference. Game and asterisk. What the asterisk does, it broadens the search, you can see, quite tremendously, maybe even too much. But what it does now is it looks for any version of that word. So when I do that, it is looking for games, gamification, gaming, all at once. And this is where maybe filtering to limit search results to, like, I don't know, video gaming or online gaming might make a difference. You can also use some other, you know, limiters on the side here. So if you wanted to focus specifically on, you know, in education, for example, you could do that. And introducing music to the hearing impaired. That might be interesting. But anyway, it's just one way to filter. I'm going to take out that filter here. Because the other thing you can do, and this is pretty cool, is this topic finder thing. Topic finder, and it comes with these tiles, which I hate. I like the wheels better. But this is where maybe you can look at gaming and deaf and look at specifically games, and then deaf children. I shouldn't assume you're interested in children, but this is where you can find a hearing man's journey into the world of deaf softball. Oh, that's fascinating. But reading enhancement. So how do you help deaf children learn how to read? You know, for example. So that's that sort of thing. Deaf children, students in social interaction. Does this somehow improve their social interaction? That sort of thing. So anyway, that's just one other way to look at this topic and find things. I want to show you one other database, and that's again back from library homepage, library databases, top library databases, and now we're going to look really quickly at EBSCO. It's often called EBSCO, This specific database within EBSCO is called Academic Search Complete. Academic Search Complete covers probably every topic you can imagine. It's really, I call it like the Walmart of databases. There's a little bit on every subject. But you might find yourself saying, you know what, yes, that's helpful, but I'm really interested in, say, education. Well, if you are, well, we have a database specific to that within EBSCO. It's called ERIC. Or you might be really interested, say, in health and the health aspects. You might be interested in the business aspects. Is there a certain game design industry dedicated to this population that has been untapped and you want to look into that? You could click there as well if you wanted to. But I'm just going to go ahead and click OK here. Again, same thing. You do gaming, or video games, or gamification. Am I spelling gamification right? Gamification? I might put that on another line since I'm not sure about my spelling. And I can say or gamification. Or. Oh, okay, it is gamification like that. And this is where you can say, so you want all those terms, gaming or video games or gamification, and your other key term, which is deaf. And you might want to choose deaf or hard of hearing. And they even have one specifically for students. That's kind of cool. But you can click here to really make it broad. So if I hit search, wow, that actually brought up a ton of stuff. Maybe too much. Wow, maybe too much. That's really interesting. Gaming or video games. Maybe video games is too much. Wow. So let's go forward in time here. Let's focus on the last few years. Let's focus on, say, the last 4 or 5 years here. Promoting children's physical activity, the role of active video gaming. Yeah, somebody else is doing a paper on that. So let's see. I'm not finding enough here on deaf, the deaf population. So I'm going to look over here at some of our other terms to see under subject. And this is like the last database. You can limit. I want to see what it's trying to do here as far as finding things. And so I'm looking specifically for like the deaf or hard of hearing, because that's what I'm not seeing come up enough. Okay, yeah, this is not bringing up enough stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And I'm going to tweak my search a little bit and type in and deaf or hard of hearing and see if that brings it down a little bit. Oh, that really brought it down quite a bit, maybe too much now at this point. So, and see, then that's all you really do is you play with it saying, oh, is that too much? Or I want to go back to, you know, gaming specifically and see. And that really brought it down now to 2. Interesting. So, because actually I found quite a bit more when I did a search on this before. Let's see if that changes it up a little bit. Now it's down to 1, so it's really getting things narrow, which is kind of surprising. Gaming and game design. Let's try that. Or game design, excuse me. Well, anyway, there's a little bit more here, but I think this is something, I'm going to probably do some searching for you on this. I had found some more earlier on this. But anyway, say you're interested in this one. A similar thing, you would click here. You can see this is available in PDF. You can see also what's nice here with EBSCO is that it provides these great subject terms. So if you're really looking at educational games, and or deaf education, for example, and gaming, you could certainly do that, or technology such as learning. Words that we wouldn't necessarily use for our search, but it can be really helpful. And if you look over here to the right, similar features. You can print, you can email. If you want help with your citation, there's MLA right there. So you know what I'm going to do is I might send you a couple more articles. But this is usually a very helpful database, so I'm really just, if I really make this narrow, gaming. Wow. Would we find a little bit more? Nope, this is really narrow things down a little bit. You have a top topic here. So this is where I might want to come back to educational games or broaden up my search. So, but I'll see about sending you some things. And see, but try these, especially academic one file, and we'll see if we can find anything more for you. Okay, Tor? Take care.